我们今天下午的活动就正式开始了。然后，尊敬的嘉宾、各位朋友，大家下午好！非常开心大家今天能够来到上海参加我们现场的 TinTin DESTINATION MOON 的活动。本次活动是由 TinTinLand 携手阿里巴巴 Cloud、Vara Game Foundation、Zcloak、Shark Team、Cham Aegis、谷歌云 Cloud Days 共同主办。首先，活动开始前，请允许我做个简单的自我介绍。我来自 TinTinLand， 也是本次活动的主持人 Judy。TinTinLand 是一个专注于 Web3 开发者社区的平台，我们聚焦于推动区块链技术的发展，为开发者提供前沿的科技资讯、技术课程、研讨会、黑客松创业大赛以及行业招聘。我们致力于支持 Web3 开发者的成长，并赋能更多的人加入并参与到 Web3 的建设中来。本次 TinTin DESTINATION MOON 是由 TinTinLand 推出的线下系列活动品牌，我们致力于打造一个充满启发和共鸣的交流平台。每期活动聚焦 Web3 相关主题，邀请行业大咖嘉宾，通过圆桌对谈与自由互动，探索 Web3 行业的前沿动态、新技术和市场趋势。除了深度交流，我们还为您准备了趣味性的游戏和互动的环节，让您在轻松愉快的氛围中去结交更多志同道合的朋友。那我们下午的分享和交流活动就正式开始。我们知道，在过去的几年中，我们看到了 Web3 发展的惊人潜力，从 DeFi 的广泛应用到 ZK 技术的不断进步，从全链游戏的发展到人格证明的实现 ，Web3 正在快速取得很多重要的技术突破，并开始改变我们的生活。而今天我们将会听到来自各个领域的专家分享他们对 Web3 现状与未来的理解，以及如何在这个新世界中找到更多通往未来的同行者。而今天整场活动我们会围绕着4场主题演讲和3场圆桌讨论来进行，以及最后的 After Party。每一场活动都将深入探讨今年 Web3 领域的各个重要主题和叙事。今天您不仅会了解到 Layer 1 网络中高速可扩展的开发新范式，以及 Layer 2的激烈竞争中存在着的机遇与挑战，您还会听到行业的顶级大咖在最前沿为我们带来公链未来的技术和生态发展，以及 Web3 基础设施、数字身份确权和 Web3 安全等话题的深入探讨。最后，各个技术社区的代表也将一同分享如何推动 Web2 与 Web3 技术社区的深度融合，与更多开发者一起塑造数字技术的未来。今天到场的各位嘉宾都将从他们的专业视角和实践经验出发，给我们带来前沿的洞见和启发。最后，我们还为大家准备了一个 After Party， 欢迎大家畅所欲言，共享最前沿的信息与思考。值得一提的是，现场我们为大家专门设置了游戏区，希望大家可以把握住机会，享受每个游戏的过程，获得我们以及各个项目方为大家精心准备的周边的礼品。再次预祝本次活动圆满成功，再次感谢各位嘉宾和现场观众朋友的远道而来。那么我们话不多说，就开始我们今天的演讲和圆桌分享，希望大家可以度过一段充实、有趣、有所收获的时光。接下来是我们的第一个主题演讲的环节。我们知道，就区块链的技术是需要复杂的技术，开发者常常需要经历一个很高的学习曲线。对于很多资源有限的开发者来说，如何简化应用的过程，允许他们使用熟悉的语言进行编写代码，可以帮助更多的开发者进入 Web3 领域。那么未来 Web3 开发的新范式会是什么样的呢？Web3 development always involves complex technology, often requiring developers to go through a steep learning curve. For developers with limited resources, simplifying the development process, allowing them to write code in languages they're familiar with, will help more developers get into Web3. So what will the new paradigm of Web3 development look like in the future? Let's explore this exciting topic together. 上面有请来自 Gear Foundation 的 Pavel Salas 老师带来 Vara Game Changer 的主题演讲。Now please welcome Mr. Pavel Salas from Gear Foundation to deliver the speech on Vara Game Changer. Let's welcome.
Thanks a lot. Hello everybody, it's a pleasure to be here to speak to you. Before we start, I would like to ask you a small question. Please raise your hands, the people that understands English quite good. Wow, we have a huge amount of people. Okay, the other ones that understands English but cannot speak and ask questions. Okay, and the last question, just to finish this. Who of you doesn't understand English at all? Raise your hands. Okay, now I understand who doesn't understand that. This is great. Okay, so let's start. I'm really keen to hear everybody at least understands part of the English. So what's Vara is? Vara is a layer 1 solution that's starting and putting innovations into the space. So today, even that Vara is like common use blockchain, let's say it like that, so you can use any applications on that. We want to show you one of the things, or one of the angles that Vara could be really used to. That's gamify. That's why we put it like game changer. What three potentials in the future? So if we will see that games now, or if how many of you played any Web3 games or gamify, like Axie Infinity or something like that? Raise your hands, please. No? Okay, few of them are gamers. Okay, if you will check the games that are passing now, they're practically in some way like a better or a nicer way of staking rather than actually a gameplay. If you will see the new game models, you will also see that somehow it's quite similar to a normal game, but you don't understand really where the blockchain goes in. So what we can see is, and what we can think, is that the real new step for the game development is that the blockchain would be part of the technology that you practically will not even see it. So it will be there, but the games, the game interface, the game option, how you can play it, will actually don't import either your on-chain game or off-chain game. For that, actually, you can use real assets there. Obviously, one of the main things and how everything is moving forward is that you can have an NFT, or you game playing, you can get achievements, and these achievements will be stored as NFTs for you on the blockchain. In order to do that, you really have to make something that we'll talk later on that will be on-chain, so it will be tracking all the time. The second issue is play-to-earn economy. So actually, when you really have the skins or the achievements that you're getting into the game, you can really sell it into P2P market. How it was sell before? Yeah, that's true. But if you can move it from one game to another, or maybe sell it to other side of the people, or be sure that if something goes wrong, you will still have that assets, it really helps a lot. So obviously interoperability between games, this is the way how you can move your achievements. There is a lot of questions there, how actually to value them and stuff like that, but it's there, it should be done. And once you have all these things, then one of the things could move forward, this community games, when actually the next steps of what should be happening in the game could be also be done by the community. This way. Current limitations. Scalability, obviously, because when you want to make a lot of transactions, a lot of games, a lot of movements that you want to put into the blockchain, you have a lot of problems with that. Second is storage issues. A lot of blockchains cannot allow to store the NFTs on top of the chain, so you need to use something like IPFS or any other decentralized storage where you actually storage the image, all the information, then just the hash is put into the block. So there is a lot of capabilities that actually don't allow you to play in a nice and smooth way. High gas fees, especially that goes a lot for the Ethereum. That's why a lot of layer 2s are actually using Polygon, for example, is used a lot for this type of games just because the transactions are quite cheap. And then we have user experience of boarding difficulties and data privacy and smart contract limitations. When we're talking about smart contracts, especially in the normal or 99% of the blockchains, we have one of the big issues. All the logic should be done in one block. So all the calculations should be done in one block. And if a block is closing in less than 3 seconds, there's not much capabilities there. So Vara, what do we do? And how we solve these issues and these problems, and why we think that we're a game changer. we have a high performance. We use a different technology than practically everybody else in this market. We use something that's called the actor model. We'll discuss later on about that. But what we think and what we do is we're able to scale fast, we're able to share the information, we're able to be parallel on the same moment. So one of the biggest use cases for something that's scalable, fast, and asynchronous, allows you to do different information at the same time, is actually metaverses, obviously games, DeFi solutions, because in DeFi solutions we can get things like on-chain order books, totally on-chain information, delayed order transactions, things that actually really brings the decentralized exchanges to the centralized ones, gives you the same comfort of trading, of having things there. Model dynamic NFTs, where actually the NFT is a program and not an image. This is something that works for along what we're saying when computation is getting bigger. We allow, and we will discuss that later on also, we will allow you to run a program on top of the blockchain. It doesn't need to be a short image. This image, if we talk about image and NFT or dynamic NFT, could be evolving on time, depending on what are you doing, which activities on the network you are doing, you can be solving that. And obviously DAOs. So solid architecture, what we have, we're scalable, sharded by design, high speed and low latency, parallel execution, and asynchronous physics. How we do it? We use the 3 pillars of stuff. First is a WASM, Web Assembly Virtual Machine, that allows you to store information easily and pick it up. It's not developed by us, it's something that's developed quite long by a lot of big giants in terms of web action interfaces. It just turned out that it's really useful for the blockchains. Then the actor model is something that allows us to make computation, parallel computation at the same moment, and asynchronous messaging. The asynchronous messaging is when you can run at the same moment or in the background different types of the program. And then the persistent memory that allows you to maintain the memory like easy, what's called the lazy pages and things like that. The program is all the time running practically, but it's consuming a really small amount of memory and gas because it's just the first action that you need to do that's there. So when we're going into smooth development, once we have all these paradigms settled, and we are moving to the stage where we want to give an easy development for a developer, we're practically moving the whole idea of Web 2 into Web 3 when you develop. Meaning you don't need to think about memory, storaging, all this stuff. What you really need to think about is a message that you're sending to a program and the message that you're receiving. One of the beauties of the actor model is that it allows you actually to communicate between programs by messages and allows you to generate new programs automatically. Meaning it doesn't matter what's happening around, you all the time would be communicating through messages. Meaning if it's a user, I'm still an actor. If I'm a program, I'm also an actor. So I can send a message to a program can send a message to me, and the program can send a message between programs. When we're talking about that the message can send a program to me, we're talking about interaction in the blockchain, something that didn't exist before. Meaning when we're talking about dynamic NFTs, the NFT can send me a message like a Tamagotchi and say, hello, I want to eat, and I can send him another NFT, and he can change and move forward. It's just one basic idea, but it's there. So, well, the same goes to when we're talking about this messaging. When you are coding, you don't need to be thinking a lot of stuff. You just need to understand the messages that it goes and comes back to you in the programs. Cool features for business and architectural freedom. As we're having an asynchronous stuff, and asynchronicity is something that is really common in Web 2, and practically you don't have it in Web 3. Meaning when you're running part of the program, the next step can run in the backend if nothing is needed at the same moment. So we can have an example, for example. When you upload a video on YouTube, the algorithm should be this one. Let's put the name of the video, the description of it, then you put the button upload, and the video starts uploading up. And then till the video is not uploaded in the synchronous way how the blockchain works, the normal blockchain works, you will have to wait till it's uploaded till the end to get the URL to send it to your friend or to change something in the description or in the name. When we're talking about asynchronicity, we can actually, once we put upload and the video starts uploading, already send the link, change things, and move forward. This allows you to make more complicated structures in top of programming and allows you to split the information into parts to do the computation on top of the blockchain. So payless transactions, we will discuss that actually. Sorry, here, yeah. As the next feature, we have gas reservation and delay messages. This is something also unique to us. Well, what we can do is allow you, in the beginning when you're writing a program, reserve certain amount of gas into that program and say, okay, this is one feature, you can reserve gas to use it later on. And then, thanks to that, you can ask the program to do or execute something at a specific amount of time. Meaning, if you have, let's say, a DAO, and you start a voting process, if you would do it in a normal way, you will have to start the voting process, and let's say after 3 days, you have to calculate the result to say, okay, finish the voting process. It should be another transaction that you will be sending. With gas reservation, what you can do is actually put the transaction in the beginning, and then the next one say, after 3 days, I want to finish this voting, and then make the calculation and give the results. It gives you freedom to execute something at a specific moment and time, which is actually spreads a lot the logic of what you can do, especially for gamifying stuff. So you can start, for example, in a game, you can start to play and say, okay, after 3 days or after a day or after 24 hours, I want to finalize this stage of the game. And just the elite people can enter and play this part. And it will be done automatically. And everybody can see when the deadline is, and nobody actually can move it. So, the delay messages, next, payless transactions. One of another steps that we're moving forward to make the adoption of Web3 much easier is allow you to start or make the first steps without paying anything. When we're switching the paradigm between Web2 and Web3, one of the most important things is who is paying for the actions. Meaning in Web2, we have a lot of programs that we could be using that's actually for free in a certain way. Because when we're talking about using, in this type, WeChat or Didi, in our case, Google, you can use a lot of stuff that's actually for you in a certain way for free, but what they can do is collect the data and sell your data to other people. When we're talking about Web3, actually at that moment, you become the owner of all your information, but at the same time, you have to pay for each step that you're doing inside this world. So it's a switch of paradigm. And a lot of people are still keen to have the thing that I don't want to pay for anything, like in a specific way, just give me all the information and then maybe I will think about that. So what we are giving with the payless transactions is the option for you or for developers to make an application on which you will pay like a voucher to the customer. He will join your application. He will be able to use your application without spending any gas from his pocket at that moment. And then when he likes it at the next stage, you can give him the option ready to buy the tokens and start playing the game. Something like, I don't know, Facebook previously had the Facebook games when you start them free, and then they start asking you for payment to do the next steps or give additional achievements. This is easy to do with us. So that we're actually streamlining the process. Instead of create the wallet, go to the exchange, register and verify your KYC, buy tokens, transfer to your wallet, start play, you can actually go to create your wallet and then start to play. And if you want to get more sophisticated inside of your application, you can make a more nicely interface, and actually you don't even create the wallet, like it's done by you, and then just start play. The person start playing. And then through the customer journey of your game, you can already start giving them the option of, now you can get some achievements, now you can buy some tokens, now you can play with them. Oracle solutions. Use real-time world data right now. So one of the things that obviously the gamify space or the games, if we're talking about games that are related to the real world, like already more like baiting games or stuff like that, you will not be able to do it without oracles. And there is another stuff that's really important for that, is that the oracles should be trustworthy. You need also to understand that once you're using oracles, you are getting into the position that you actually have to trust them. So there was different solutions that we are amplifying there. Oh, another thing that's really important in the game stuff is obviously for game of chances and things like that, is to have the ZK part, like when you don't know what's happening, you cannot check it through the blockchain, because one of the things that's important, in the blockchain all the information is open. So if you want to play a poker game inside the blockchain, unless you actually code the information, get encrypted, you will not be able to play it fairly, because you can easily check what the other person has in his hand. And this is another thing that we actually have, and it's one of the things that's really interesting from our perspective and point of view. We can call it like a factory or smart contract factory, is when you can generate the option that one smart contract is generating another smart contract at the same moment, depending on what's happening. So it's like a microservice architecture, when you can have one smart contract that's maintaining, let's say, the state, or it's the one that's issuing the collection of the NFTs. And then each time that a new user is going up, it's generating automatically a new smart contract for him and pushing this NFT there. And that means that actually now this smart contract will be living its own life at that moment, but this will have the information about what's happening with all the other like children of this smart contract. We use it as an easy example. We launched like a week ago something that we called Incentivized testnet. And in order to check the activities of the network, how it works, and how we can amplify the load on the RPC nodes on the system, and the scalability and the standardized part of that, we generated something unique from our perspective. We decided to test the network not by simple, like running your node or putting some staking or make some easy swap. We generated games. But we generated 3 simple games, but they're running totally on chain. And another thing, what we did is a leaderboard. This leaderboard was actually managing all the information of what is happening with all the users, and it was also done on chain. Meaning, when we started the incentivized testnet, you can just go in the same way, open your wallet, obviously, then you go and mint your NFT. Once you mint your NFT, the metadata of this NFT would be a logbook on which all the activities that you will be doing on chain will be recorded there. And you will see later on all the history. Once you make this mint, this contract sends an information to the leaderboard and saying, we have one person that's registered. And the leaderboard is registering this address there. Then you go to the next stage and play a game, let's say tic-tac-toe, an easy game when you send a message to contract, I want to put my X here, then it says 0, then another X. So it's like 3-4 moves that you're doing there. Then once you finalize this move, everything on chain, once you finalize this game, at the same moment the contract also sends the information to the leaderboard and saying, look, this guy passes this game. This is the points that he received. Please add him this information to the leaderboard. And the leaderboard smart contract automatically calculates the information, puts it into the leaderboard, and the person gets these points. And at this moment, we have another games like car racing stuff, and then some swapping, and all this is totally done on chain. So a lot of transactions is doing. Each time that you do something, each time that the game plays, we have transactions moving back and forward, which actually goes into the specific pool because, and this is actually what proves the idea that we're having. We have a message queue, transaction queue to separate stuff. When the boot producer takes it in parallel and computates that, elevating the speed of cost. So this is actually what we call the factory of smart contracts, when one smart contract generates another ones and you can go back and forward. All the NFT collection was actually built on top of the blockchain, is stored on the blockchain, and in order to move it faster, we actually like divide it in the same way. You have one contract that manages the collection. I have a lot of other smart contracts that actually stores some of these NFTs. When the people mint it, we just send it to the wallet. So it's a whole system of microservices that are actually running on top of the blockchain. This gives you a freedom of generating a lot of stuff. Like if we're talking about gaming stuff, it's on-chain assets that could be actually managed by a game directly. If we're talking about DEXs or swapping, each time that you're making a swap, for example, could be a separate smart contract that's generated, the action is done and it's going away. If we're talking about P2P streaming, delivery services, all that allows you to work practically at the logic of what you have in Web 2 without roll-ups and nothing going off-chain. So this is what we are working for now. This is our Twitter. I don't know how many people of you are using Twitter here, but if you use them, you can have information about us, newses. We can actually, I think we prolonged the incentivized testnet, and if you want and you scan it, you will see the option to come and be part of our incentivized testnet, where you will be able to actually do these games. Mint an NFT, play 2 free games, receive some points from us, and then later on receive some benefits from the network and from what we're doing. And you can also help us testing in this way the information. We'll be really happy if you have questions to answer them. And obviously the whole idea of the changing the paradigm of coding, of closing this gap between Web 2 and Web 3 comes to let's build something that would be different from just a simple DeFi. Let's build something that would be usable, that you would like to be used in this way, that will be comfortable, that will have a nice and good UX UI, that will allow you to build applications that could help you and really move forward the entire space. If you have any questions, I'm here for you. If not, thanks a lot. Any questions? No questions. Okay. Thanks a lot once more.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your very insightful sharing, Mr. Pavel Salas. 然后各位观众朋友可以去扫描刚刚 PPT 上的二维码，然后去关注就是 Vara Network 的测试网。